Hi guys, DevilHunterXYZ, and today we are doing more Tonex Pro Skater 5, and we're heading off to the last level, which is Mountain. And you'll quickly notice that Mountain is not the typical square type level. Instead, it's more reminiscent of Downhill Jam from Pro Skater HD, as you're going to be skating down the snowy mountains and launching off ramps, but you can't get yourself back up to the top of the mountain when you reach the bottom. Well, the first mission, Rocky Mountain High, is of course another high score challenge. And in this case, for SIG rating, you have to get 6 million points, which does seem like a lot within 2 minutes, but I see one strategy that could really help out is getting the power up, and then just keep skating off of these 2 sets of quarter pipes, and then building up your special meter and keep using that, and keep doing revert manuals. And what's new with this level is the new power up, which kind of gives you ice-like powers to push your board forward when you're manualing. So in essence, it allows you to launch up in the air a lot higher. And just keep using that to your advantage, keep boosting into the air, keep doing tricks. And I say essentially you want your trick multiplier to be close to around 100, if you can. Malapro Mountain is a Tony Says challenge, and of course you get points for the moves that Tony calls out, and for SIG rating here you need 350 points. And in terms of difficulty, I would say it's about the same as the Tony Says from the Asteroid Belt, as he calls out a huge variety of moves, from manuals to lip tricks to grabs, flip tricks, sometimes even special moves. And then sometimes you gotta be careful of the moves that Tony didn't call out. But for the most part, it's doable as long as you stay in this little area. Well, for the mission Air It Out, you get points for the amount of time spent in the air multiplied by your trick multiplier, and for SIG rating, you need 30,000 points. And I said the first things first is to obviously get the power-up, which really can help. As with the power-up, you can actually launch off of quarter pipes a lot higher to give yourself more time in the air. But after this point, I would say you could just skate down the mountain and just keep jumping in the air, or you could just find 2 sets of quarter pipes and just keep launching yourself back and forth. Either way, as long as you get 30,000 points. Well, for Milk Run rings, it's a ring type challenge where you have to go through all the rings as fast as possible. And for Sick Rating, you have to do it in 45 seconds. And I'd say one good strategy is to always use your manual whenever possible, as with your ice powers you can actually travel a lot faster when you're manualing. And for the most part, you're gonna need to go through a lot of the mountain just to get through most of the rings. And also watch out for your grinding, as you're gonna be doing a lot of grinds back and forth between the wires and the upper area and down to the quarter pipes. Especially this last little area here where you most likely need to land that little gap. And then you have to go around the whole ice ring. And be careful not to hit any of the cardboard cutouts, as they actually can knock off your board, which causes you a lot more time. Well, for Green Circle Grind, it's a grind type challenge where your score depends on the amount of time grinding multiplied by your trick multiplier. And for Sick Rating, you need 40,000 points. And honestly, this can be on the difficult side, as there really aren't that many places to do continuous grinding. But in my case, I think there is one spot around near the ice ring that allows you to do that. And I know there's probably better strategies than what I'm going to show you, no doubt about that, but this is just how I was able to do it. So once you get to this spot, grab the ice power up, and then keep launching yourself back and forth off of these 2 sets of quarter pipes and try to build up your trick multiplier. And I'd say just keep building it up until you get around 70, although more would be better. And once you get your multiplier high enough, the hard part is to try to balance into a manual and keep manualing until you get to this little spot right here, and just keep grinding until you get enough points. And hope for the best that you don't fall off your grind. For Manual Mongol, is a manual type challenge where your score depends on the amount of time manualing multiplied by your multiplier. And for Sick Rating, you need 50,000 points. And essentially for strategy, I would say do the same things with the grind challenge. When you start the mission, just turn, get yourself the power up, and from this point just keep launching yourself off these 2 quarter pipes to build up your multiplier. And when your trick multiplier is high enough, just land into a manual, and from this point on just manual down the mountain. And hope not to hit anything along the way. And in cases where you don't quite make the score that you need, you can always just redo the strategy if you have enough time. Well, for Death Cookie Combo, it's another combo-based challenge where you have to get a certain combo within the time limit. And for Sick Rating, you need 300,000 points. But what makes this one a little bit more difficult is you can't do any manuals. And of course it says you can jump off the large ramp to try to get yourself a combo. You can do that, I'm sure it could be possible. But for my strategy, I'd say just ignore the ramp altogether. Well, of course, try not to jump, as for some reason it still counts as a combo. But anyway, make your way to this point and start grinding on the quarter pipes, then grind on these cables and making your way to the left. And you might have to get lucky enough just to land the grind to continue grinding. And it might take some attempts, but once you land the grind, just keep doing tricks until you get up to 300,000 points. Black Diamond Dash requires you to get your ticket punched 3 times, or collect 3 tickets, and make it down to the mountain base. And for Sick Rating, you need to do it in 65 seconds. And I say the best strategy here is to immediately go through the ski lift area to get yourself back up to the top of the mountain to collect your first ticket. And at that point, I would say you can keep finding the different ski lifts to get you to different points, but it would cost a lot of time. So here, I'd say turn left when you get to this point, and when you reach the top, turn around, start grinding the cables, and you get your second ticket. And at that point, just keep making your way down the mountain, and once you get to this point right here, take a left and then grind the cables, and that should get you your third ticket. And be careful with the cardboard cutouts. And from this point on, just keep manualing down the mountain, and you should make it with some time to spare. Well, the mission Tracked Out Tricks requires you to score points in a certain area, and of course in this case, this little area. And for Sick Rating, you need 2,500,000 points. And there's really not much of a strategy. I'd say get to this little spot right here, and just keep launching yourself back and forth, building up your trick multiplier, doing specials and reverb manuals, and you should have enough points by the end of the time limit. Or I guess you might have to go a little bit over it. But really, as long as you get enough points near the end, that's all that really matters. And finally, the last mission, Showman Saboteur, requires you to smash through all the snowmen, and for sig rating you need to do it in 30 seconds. And there's really not much of a strategy, as all the snowmen are in the same spot every time you do this, so essentially you're just following the line. And honestly, as long as you know where the snowmen are, it's not too much of a big problem. But I do say just keep using your manuals to get yourself faster, as you don't really have too much time. And hopefully by the time you get to your last snowman, you should have a few seconds to spare. Well, that takes care of all the missions on all the levels. And for the most part, they weren't really too bad. They just require some attempts, but it's not like it's impossible. Well, at this point, I am waiting for Activision to release some free DLC, is what they told us back in the past, and with that they're going to release 2 more levels. And if that's the case, I guess I'll go back and do those levels and try to complete sick difficulty on those. But for the meantime, I can do other things, like collecting more emblems or unlocking more gear for the skaters. I mean, overall, this Tony Hawk game was okay at best. But this is DevilHunterXYZ, and until next time.